Hello, everyone. I would like to welcome Martin. Martin, how are you?
Hi, Amy. Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me. I'm fine.
Yeah,
Happy to
yeah,
be here with you, meeting you first time in real, and kind of real.
yes, yes. Lots of virtual chats and feedback, both regarding to tech and also for our common hobbies, which is trumpet. But we'll talk all about it. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell me where you're from, what you do, and let's continue from there.
Yeah, sure. My name is Martin Rövekamp. I'm modern workplace consultant. My most focus is on internal communication, so mostly intranet with Microsoft 365 tools like and third-party vendor stuff like Omnia. Um, I'm a community guy since many, many years. I'm active in the Hamburg region. So Hamburg is the north part of Germany. Um, and I'm involved here in many community stuff. So what else? Yeah, maybe we come later on to the
Yeah,
rest.
yeah, sure. I'll just introduce myself. I'm from Ami Diamond from Israel. I'm a SharePoint consultant, also a MVP, just like you, for the second year. Mostly focused on SharePoint and Teams, but also other integrations with all of the 365 apps like Planner, Teams, and other things. And also have some additional hobbies, but in general, I'm big into um, adoption and training and implementation and all kinds of, and starting to learn the new stuff like Copilot and other things because you have no choice to do that. But I enjoy doing it. I also have a YouTube channel, but we'll also talk about it. Okay, Martin, can you tell me what actually is the community stuff that you do? Because
Yeah,
I
sure.
it
It started about 11 years ago when my friend Peter, a neighbor who brought me into SharePoint, asked me if we would set up the Hamburg SharePoint. So that's now in the 11th year running. In the beginning, it was every month. Now it's about 6 times a year. Last week, we had Christmas post Nikolaus SharePoint um, on the Christmas market. Um,
wow,
And as we had celebrating the 10th anniversary, we started with Collab Days Hamburg, which is so the formerly known as SharePoint Saturday, but we didn't have it in
yeah,
Hamburg. So um, for about 2 years, I'm speaking on conferences. Before I did just workshops for
yeah,
customers or other people. Um, and I had a session in Zagreb on Collab Days talking about internet solutions. And then on the way back, I thought, that was really great. We need to have something like that in Hamburg as well. So we do have like the Power Platform Boot Camp or the Power
yes,
Platform user group organizing it. I'm just guest there. Then we had the
okay,
M365 user group. I was kind of supporting them. And then we had the Teams user group, which I have been the host for Hamburg.
wow,
Um, and now, so I gave it to a colleague, and I
yes,
started just with together with Robert Mulso the global AI chapter um, for Hamburg, and we have had 3 events now in this year.
yes,
And we'll have the AI bootcamp, global AI bootcamp in March. So that will be the
I
next
see.
conference we organize.
So
What else?
when you mentioned the pint, does that mean it's SharePoint with some beer?
It's just beer, and then we're talking about SharePoint or
Okay,
or
I
or
see.
or M365 topics. So
Yeah, it's just like the podcast of Office Distilled by
Marine, uh,
Marijn Sommer. So they talk about SharePoint and stuff, and then they drink some whiskey or something.
uh,
So that's I see. But so actually, yeah. Speaking in conferences, did you ever know? Is it something that you learn, or are you good at it, or is it something that each time you speak, it's better? So is it because
it's
it's
a
not easy to stand, in front of a big crowd, and so how do you recommend people to start speaking? Is it something that they need to practice, or is it something natural that you just have it, or what do you
okay.
think?
It was for me about about 15 years ago, 13 years ago, when I
Yes.
um, came back and started again as a consultant. Before I was a project manager,
Yeah.
I had to do the workshops with the clients. So that was my
Okay.
first time again standing in front of a group. Even the first
Mm-hmm.
workshop was just like presentation. That was a big step for me because I was firm standing in front of people, but with a trumpet. So making
Oh,
music,
okay.
that's for me. It was like, but now talking, I was really like got nervous
Yes.
and wet fingers and so on. I had to learn. So our sales representative
Yes.
um, made some recaps after that, and then that was learning by doing. But I was not
I see.
talking on conferences. And then I
I
was
see.
doing some workshops for universities.
Yes.
And about 2 years ago, or maybe, yeah, maybe 2.5 years ago, I was asked by the Global Power Platform org group in Hamburg
Yes.
if I could have a session there. I asked a
Okay.
colleague, let's do the session there. And 1 week
Yes.
before, he said, I'm not coming. I said, okay. Then I had to do it
Oh,
alone.
okay.
And then it's like, okay, jump and swim and learn. Yeah.
Do you find that if it's easier when you do it together with somebody?
Um,
'Cause I
it,
saw some people do speaking together, with a colleague, with a co-host, and sometimes, you split it, or one can, support each other, and it's a better feeling. Is that
it,
is most of your speaking on yourself, or also with a co-speaker?
in the beginning, it was only myself.
Yes.
And nowadays, I'm often sharing the stage with
Mm-hmm.
Knut, Knut Rühe Melbe, and Relbe Moe. And we have the same topics, and we have
Yes.
the same mindset and the same ideas,
Yeah.
and we
Y-
just fit to each other as
Yeah.
well as
That's
with Peter Wiens, my friend
yeah.
here. When we started with
Mm-hmm.
color base, the opening speech, we didn't practice at all. We
Oh.
knew, okay, you speak in German, I speak in English, and then we
Yeah.
did the invitation. We just had like short notes what we wanted to say before, and then we started to talk. And we know each other for many years, and we just is a sidekick. When we get to know that something is missing, then jumps in. So
I
that's
see. And
good and me the same.
is most of your speaking in German, or is it depends on it can be English or German, or depends on the audience?
It depends on the audience. I prepare the slides mostly in English. Um,
Yeah,
and if there are only German speaking people, then I will speak in Deutsch.
I see.
Otherwise, I stay in English.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
those
yeah,
are.
I think there's a room for, because if for instance, myself, I have a YouTube channel, and I could choose also to speak my local language, which is Hebrew. But
Mhm.
in order to reach larger audiences, then English is a very common language. But sometimes I think it's important for the community to also get all of the information in local language, because
Yeah,
not everyone is fully English, fluent, and sometimes they need it also in their local language because it's easier for them and it's not their first language.
yeah,
Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. Yeah. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so sometimes I just offer, okay, if there's something missing, then that's a community event. It's not the
Yes.
big conference where they point
Yes.
with a
It's
finger
not
on you.
Ignite or
So
something. Yeah.
that's really, we do some things, the community, for the community, from the community. So we share knowledge and we share our whatever topics with them, and we ask for feedback. And
I see.
that's the difference to the paid communities, or paid, not communities, paid conferences,
Yes.
where the people are just waiting, and then, yeah, oh, he did a mistake, and then they
Yeah.
point with a finger on you. That's not, that's also for everybody who wants to start to talk. um, the stage is open and it's not a closed thing.
I
So
see.
in
So,
Oslo,
do you have a blog or something? Or
now I have some articles on LinkedIn, but my most engagement is really presenting
I see. I
and
see.
organizing.
Wow.
So I'm just returned from Oslo, from Collab Days Oslo.
Yes. Yes.
Knut asked me to support him, if I could support him. So I
Yes.
organized um, Oslo as well, together with him and Kai Stenberg. And yeah, that's, I mean,
Yeah, I
we
think
have three
I think to
conferences to
organize
organize.
an event is very complex.
Yeah,
It's lots of preparations, and you need to be like to prepare a wedding. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a big conference.
But
You
it's a
need
kind of
to.
returning back to my roots. So my first career was, when I was a student, I organized
Yes.
like symphony orchestra, and then I had my own jazz
Yeah.
festival. So all this experience come back now,
Wow.
and I
Wow.
can use this for the other, for the tech stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to ask me something? Um,
Sorry, sorry.
do you want to ask me a
Yeah,
question?
yeah. I've seen your YouTube channel. That's so much, and like 4,000 followers and so on. That's really
Yeah.
amazing. You do every week a post. That's, for me, it's, I couldn't do this. Maybe it's vice versa. So I don't know. Do you Are you on conferences? Do you speak on conferences?
I haven't had the possibility yet to do that, but
Mhm,
I might consider in future.
mhm,
The reason I started my channel was just to document and store um, best cases, bugs, features, solutions, and stuff, so I could go back in case I needed. And what happened was I just said, let's start recording, and I started uploading lots of videos, and I started getting more views and more feedback. That just now I didn't know at all how to create a video or how to create a YouTube channel. I started, on the go. So I started, my first videos probably were very bad. Each time I improved, and actually I just passed the 900,000 views a couple of weeks ago, and I have no idea why, but I guess
mhm.
it's good.
Yeah,
Yes, it's just something I think. when you create a very short to the point video, because people lose their patience. Yeah. So if you say, this is the subject, this is the problem I want to solve, this is how I do it, and then I conclude and say, well, these are the possibilities to do it. I think that's what I expect to search, and people are looking for that. So
Mhm.
I doing it without any expertise. Even the quality of video and audio could be improved, but each time I'm doing it, because I think the content is what's important. The rest is, you can do it, and luckily I've been. But it still is a hobby. I mean, the channel is the hobby, but the knowledge is based on the experience
Yeah,
and
yeah,
work that I come up, and that's also the reason I was nominated 2 years ago. To be honest, the first time I was rejected, the second time I was renominated and I got it. Um, can you tell me how you became a MVP?
sure. Um, I didn't know that you were just one year in front of me. So that was on Christmas SharePoint last year.
Yeah.
Um, there were like three MVPs besides. So I haven't been MVP, but like three MVPs were there, and then we were discussing. Oh, okay, how long are you doing this now? Yeah, for 10 years.
Wow.
No, you're not an MVP. No.
Yes.
Uh, why? So was
Yeah.
not was not that important. I just do it, and then
Yes, yes,
do
of
you do
course.
you want to become MVP? So why not? We can
Yes,
try. So
yes.
so then in January, Robert promoted me or suggested
Nominated it, yeah.
nominated
Yeah.
me, and by accident on April 1st, which is like, do you celebrate this April 1st joke
Yes,
day?
it's April Fool.
Fourth, okay. April Fool.
No,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Fool, Fool. It's a joke. Yeah,
yeah,
you
yeah,
don't
yeah.
believe it.
Yeah. So I got
Yeah.
it on the April 1st and said, ah, ha,
So
ha, ha. Yeah, yeah.
it's a joke. Yeah, it's not
Good
real.
idea. Okay. Then one
Yeah.
day later, I checked, Microsoft does not do any fools. So, yeah.
Yes, yes. And they don't send it usually on Sundays, I think.
Yeah.
But wow, so congratulations. So
Yeah.
this
Thank
is
you.
so since April you are MVP.
Yes, that's
Wow.
my first year. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, I mean I always said I would continue doing it no matter if I receive the MVP or not. The MVP is just like um yeah. So, if we go back to technology, actually, what is your focus, or what's your favorite application that you recommend that you use? Are you a SharePoint, a Teams, a Power Platform, or all of the above? What's your expertise? Or
My expertise is like internet. So, like, my first love is Omnia. So this is like a third-party solution, internet solution
okay,
based on Microsoft 365. So data
yes,
storage. So you need a SharePoint Online, but you can also use Teams to integrate the Omnia
yeah.
intranet into your Teams client and then exit it from there. And we have some integrations like in Planner for the task management and the calendar for event management and so on. So
So
and,
it's
and
it's like an add-on. It's like an add-on or some kind of a
it's
web
an
file
Azure
that
hosted
is,
app,
yeah,
and you so on-prem it's a SharePoint application. So we
yeah,
just finished yesterday installation on SharePoint
yeah.
subscription, which is like takes a while on this
Well,
metal system.
on-prem, which version? 2016, 2019,
That no,
or
no,
the
subscription. So the
the
new
latest
version,
one?
latest one.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Which is it similar to SharePoint Online in a way
Well,
from?
Well, from the look and feel, yes. But
Yes.
when you open, then you come back to SharePoint 2010 or 13.
Oh, oh, 2007.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I see. I see. Yeah, I haven't touched 2013 for like 5 or 6 years, but
Mm,
yeah. Well, I think once you go to online, you cannot go back to on premise.
agreed.
It's
Agreed.
it's it's really limited, and it's although the online has still the classical. You can still create a classical site. The subsites are still classical, so and when you go to the settings, you still see the settings sometimes of
Yeah.
the classical. Yeah. But besides the add-on, do intranets you say, and you say also Teams and other applications.
No, that's okay. Now, like now also Copilot for
Ah, I
M365.
see.
And from January on, it will be mostly focused on AI solutions. So
I see. Wow. Although Microsoft has, is it only Microsoft AI, or other AI
other, it could be other
solutions?
solutions. So just to
Well,
find
like,
a solution for
yeah,
the customer or for the client.
I
Um,
see.
and so I started talking about that AI integration into internets. So like
Yes,
combining now technology with with the community talks.
yes,
Um, my topic was mostly to support our editors or content creators with good
yeah.
solutions. And then
Authors, yeah,
we have the SharePoint, and then we might use some other solutions like third-party solutions who deliver web parts, like in the past, like Valo, or now a Mosaic, or
yeah,
you have some other solutions where you have like easy creating templates in publishing, auto publishing, and so on. And when Jeff Tabor came out with, we have Copilot in SharePoint, and
yes,
you can create pages and said, okay, that's the dead of any other software vendor, but okay, we
yeah,
still do not have this functionality, even if they again on Ignite had been showing, okay, you push the button and
yeah. I
you
I
write
noticed
you
you
write a
you
prompt
you
and you get a completely designed um, intranet site. Yeah, that's maybe
I
a few
noticed
years.
you had a post, something, is SharePoint dead?
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you write some kind of a? Can
Uh,
you talk about what was this a session you provided about it, or was it?
um, yeah, I provided a session, but it was not accepted. That was maybe
Oh,
the title
okay.
was not that hip. There was no Copilot inside. Um, yeah, no. So from my point of view, SharePoint is not
Yes,
dead. Now it's even
of course.
becoming again more popular than a few years ago. Now with like SharePoint
Yes.
embedded in all the functionalities, and SharePoint appears again as name. I mean, with a
Yeah.
lot of teams, and then they came up with lists, taking all the functions out of SharePoint, bringing it
Oh,
separately.
it's a list is a list is a list, and it's a SharePoint list is
Yeah,
a Microsoft list, and it's just a rebranding, I think,
yeah, yeah,
and especially with Copilot, which is coming with agents to SharePoint, then SharePoint is the focus, and SharePoint is the backend for everything,
yeah.
for Teams, for Loop, for everything. So everything at the end is a SharePoint thing. So um yeah, things yeah, people don't only always like SharePoint, but I think it has lots of uh, functionalities for task management, for document management, and for um, content management. Yeah, intranets and stuff. So yes, it's a SharePoint will not die.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But the
So
brand name was like, that's what I thought. Okay, now it's time to talk about it. Is SharePoint dead? No, it's not dead. It's still
uh,
there. Um,
yes, of course.
it has um, some products around which uh, push it a bit down, but they won't work without it. So yeah.
Yeah. Uh, would you like to share a challenge or some kind of uh, a situation that you had with the 365, and how did you overcome? Or do you have some kind of something that you got to a blocking point, or something that was not easy to provide with the 365 or something?
I do not really remember
Or a
which
challenge,
type of
just a
challenge.
challenge,
Yeah.
or even something that you succeeded in doing, a very good project that you did, regarding intranets and stuff.
Well, uh, I think the largest problems or the most heavy problems I had in the past is like the adoption thing.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
so
it's a
to,
person thing. Yeah,
it's like to collect them and bring them on the way to understand how. So like this paper-based stuff.
yeah,
I've been working in the university business for a while, creating SharePoint portals for
yeah,
them. And then you change the process for sure. So that's the change thing is the main thing,
yeah.
not the technical stuff. It's
No, no, it's a
technical stuff is
person. Yeah,
also
it's yeah,
sometimes a challenge, like if you have like all the securities
yeah,
stuff with on-prem or with cloud or whatever.
yeah,
But that's solvable. You just ask some colleagues
yes. You
and
can
whatever.
find, yeah,
But to pick up this non-technic of
yeah,
people which want
yeah,
to stay on the process, on the paper process.
yeah,
Like we had like application portal for university entries,
yes,
and I told them, okay, let's connect just the data from them.
yes.
And then we put a button there. I approve that everything is correct, and if it's not correct,
Mm-hmm.
I will be disqualified while entering the university.
Yes.
Just showing the documents. And then, yeah, we can. They have put the button there, but
Okay.
they still
They never
wanted to get
used
the
it.
paper, and not the paper on entry. They wanted the paper before.
Yeah.
So, so they followed my process, but stayed on the old one as well.
Yeah. I worked for a German company, actually, Siemens, you
Yeah.
probably know. And I was responsible for the whole service of the SharePoint 2013 and the migration to 2000 and oh, SharePoint Online. And in some cases, you even needed to involve the working console for some kind of a change like that, because the workers would need to accept the change or to approve it. So sometimes it's very complicated. I can tell you, yeah, adoption is very, it can be very challenging. My recommendation is first to find some champions or people that are happy for changes, and can lead, and train the train and stuff, and they will recommend if they like it. Second thing is to also show the benefit. The If you use if it can save time, or you can do some automation and stuff, and That, and if the user understands what it can save in time and productivity, um, then he will be more happy to do it. Um, my challenges in a 365 environment are sometimes, the limitations and boundaries that Microsoft provide.
Mhm.
If it's the threshold of use,
Yeah.
or people using not correctly if they do a migration that they take million files and throw them all in one document library, then eventually they'll have a problem of syncing and of permissions and lots of things, even though Microsoft always has a hard limit and a soft limit. So
Mhm.
they say 30 million documents can be in a document library, but
Mhm.
they don't recommend more than 20 or 30,000 or maybe 100,000 in a library. So if somebody looks only according to what the documentation says and doesn't have experience, then he might get to a point where Microsoft will say, sorry, you're not working according to, we cannot support you because you're not working according to the guidelines. And also governance is very important in
Mhm.
that
It is, yes.
aspect, because sometimes you can, by guidelines, say do this and don't do it, and sometimes you can restrict it technically that you cannot do that. Just like, um, I know organizations that don't let people create their own sites. Yeah, when you go to the SharePoint, you have a button create a site, but that creates millions of sites just because people try to do it. And
Yeah.
sometimes organizations say, well, instead of that, request a site, put a justification. We'll create it for you. We'll maybe set a template or something that you need, and that's instead of doing it by yourself. Even though Microsoft, is in a concept that self-service, yeah, each one does it for yourself. You create a team or something, but I think lots of teams often after a couple of weeks, months, or more, and then it's just not maintained.
Yeah.
I know there's a solution where uh, you can ask the to check if the site was active, and then it sends the owner if he wants to delete it or not or remain. Okay, so let's go on. Do you have any questions to me, or do we want to talk on other topics that we have common interest, because uh, getting to maybe to the end?
Yeah. Just are you involved in intranets or just like the migration thing, or also
I,
like
well, I'm involved with anything, everything to do with SharePoint, Teams, Planner, Yammer. So it can be something to build a totally new intranet. It can be creating pages, or it can be to develop a form which is not even out of the box. So
yeah.
using, I don't do the Power apps, but the company I work with create, let's say, very smart forms like a SPFX or something. Because sometimes the the forms that are provided out of the box are not enough. If you want a
Yeah.
cascaded form that says country, city, and something else, you cannot do it in a SharePoint list for the
Mhm.
meantime. Yeah, you need
Yeah.
some Power App or some developed. So um, I also do like demand management and change management, and collect requirements, and also do QA afterwards, and lots of adoption and training.
Mhm.
and integration. So sometimes somebody says, "I want a calendar, but I want it looks like a Gantt." There's no.
Yeah.
It was possible in the past, but I want a Gantt that looks yearly, so it's not possible. But you always need to find what solutions, let's say task management, so you can do it in a list, you can do it in to do, you
Yeah.
can do it in planner, you can do it in the project, you can do it in so many ways, and sometimes it confuses the user.
So yeah, for
um
the user, so what I did for this case, like creating or developing together with the project team a communication map, for example, or a collaboration map. Okay, when do
yeah,
I use what? When do I store my data in OneDrive, and when do I store them in SharePoint, and
yes,
when do I use chat, and when do I use email, and when do I so something like
yeah.
this.
Actually, the customer I work with uh, took a decision that they don't want the users to use OneDrive anymore. Because what would happen was that instead of working in SharePoint, they would store all of their information in OneDrive. And if a user would leave the company, it's his personal data, and all of the organization information was stored in OneDrive and could be deleted if he didn't take. So I'm in a very big project of moving 90 tera of documentations from OneDrive to SharePoint, or also other uh, solutions, which is challenging, because
Mhm.
um, if we talk about OneDrive from Microsoft perspective, or from usually it should be for starting a document, something which is in progress. Once it's completed, it should be probably moved to either to Teams or SharePoint. But the OneDrive should not be the last, should be the first, but not the last location of the document, because it cannot be it cannot be searchable, it cannot be.
Mhm.
You need to actively share it, and so it's a big project. Even though that seems, and tell me if I'm wrong. My impression is Microsoft is pushing everything back to OneDrive, or at least the interface or the starting point of people will be OneDrive, and from the OneDrive they might go to the shared documents or
Yeah.
something. It's and I think it's confusing because people don't know, where am I? Where's the document? Is it in OneDrive? But there's a link in OneDrive to my shared documents, which is SharePoint. So it can be, for the end user, I think it can be sometimes they're not sure where the information is. And I
Mhm.
think when the information is shared in SharePoint, they don't have the headache of managing permissions, or they have less,
Yeah.
because it's defined either on a site level, on a document level, or folder, or library. So yeah, it's yeah. Okay, so
Yeah.
I think for some people don't know, but me and you have a common hobby of trumpet playing, and hopefully we can share some experiences together.
Yeah.
For others that are in the 365, it might be a bit less interesting, but I think it's interesting to to meet the people also, what they do when they're not doing technology all day long.
Yeah.
So um so how long have you been playing trumpet?
I started with the age of 9, so
Oh.
quite a few days already.
Yeah, me too. I started at the end of at the age of 10, but
Okay.
my mother bought me a plastic trumpet,
Okay.
and I threw it on the floor, and then I insisted on a real trumpet.
Okay.
Wow! And you have been playing up until now the
Yeah.
whole
Yeah. Yeah.
time?
I'm very
Wow!
happy that my mom was like pushing me to practice every day. So you do the homework and then you practice. And I had like a notebook with like 5 minutes scales and 5 minutes like only tones, playing tones, and then etude number something and so on. Um, and that brought me. So I was really introvert, uh, but the music brought me into other other groups, and so I played first with some horn section, and
Yeah.
then like trumpet quartet, and then a blowing quintet, and then symphony orchestra. With the symphony orchestra, we went to US 2 times, and then to
Wow!
UK, and then so like Belgium, Holland, and so on. And that made me independent, um, and then I played with the organ in the church.
Yeah. Wow!
One day I started with jazz stuff, and I came up with a organizing the jazz festival. So that's
Oh, so you also play and you also organize the jazz. Wow!
yeah. I have been in the music business for about 5 years, and then I had no fun at music anymore. No, not at
Yes.
all.
Yeah.
Because I just went to a concert and then had a look. Okay, how's the light? How is the show? How much did
Oh,
they
yeah.
pay? How many
Oh,
people are here? Okay, what's the revenue? Can I do it in my
yes.
place
That.
as well? And then, so
But
I had to take
so
off 2 years, and then I started again playing in bands. But before it
I
was
see.
like,
So was that professional? Was that your profession? I see. For me, it was always a hobby. So I've been since the age of 10, but I played in a youth band, and then during the military service, I did not play trumpet because I was a combat. Um, but and then I joined what's called the community band, which
hmm
is just like community for SharePoint. So there's a
yeah,
it's like the youth, which the people that played in the youth are playing, and we meet once a week, and we play, all kinds of things. So we can play marches of Sousa, and we
okay,
can play musicals, and we can play. But it was their hobby. It was not their professional thing. But we played all kinds of. And to be honest, I enjoy more playing than listening because
mhm,
uh, especially classical. I cannot hear classical for too long, but to play classical, I can play.
okay,
So I don't know, but I enjoy, and actually jazz. It's something that I never tried. I mean, it's something totally different. Is that when you play jazz, do you play from improvising, or is it from notes, or combination?
it's a combination. Um, so let's go short back. So when I was
Yeah.
16, I decided not to become a professional musician. I because I didn't want to sit in the orchestra and play 50 times the same tune for one
Yes.
period or whatever.
Okay.
And um, and I was sure that I was not that talented that I be the top 5 in Germany, for example, so that I can
Yeah.
play what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I wouldn't didn't want to end as a musical teacher and teaching untalented children. Uh,
Yes.
I mean, with the talents, it's all fine. I mean, it makes fun
Yes, but
teaching,
with
but people who
yeah,
do not
it's a
want,
challenge. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that's why I decided, okay, you will study something else. And but I financed my studies playing the trumpet. So and right now, so in my big band, I'm playing lead trumpet, so there's no space to improvise. And
Yes.
to be honest, I haven't been practicing improvising for
Yeah.
5 6 years now, um, because I had this other role. And but
Yes.
I can read really good, and sometimes um, people call me. Um, so I have some professionals who still have my
Yeah.
number and calling me. Hey, I have a gig tomorrow. Can you play
Ah,
for
yeah.
me?
Ah,
And
that's
last time
nice.
also, I was the only non-professional guy in this band, and I asked,
Yeah.
okay, what are you playing? Sinatra. Okay, yeah, yeah. So I went there and um, I had to read, and all the other guys, hey, you're reading good. So yeah, this time I have my glasses and I can see something. There
And
was
talking about, we talked about speaking by yourself, but also it takes confidence to play if you're a solo, or to
yeah.
play. Um, did you you said you had no problem of playing first, and with no even standing up, or with the trumpet, so that you had no problem doing that.
Um, there was one at school, my
Yes.
first concert with a school orchestra. Then I had that was a disaster for me. I had to play a
Okay.
solo, and
Yeah.
I mixed it up, and
Yeah.
it took a while
Yes. Yes. I
to
think
get back.
it's.
And
Yeah.
after
I see.
25 years, playing, I had a concert with a jubilee concert with our orchestra, new symphony orchestra. I played,
Yes.
like, and then I played here. Um, we played this tune when
Yes.
we in the US, and then the trumpet player next to me. Oh, I was 1 year old at that time. So,
Oh, yes. Yeah. I want to tell you. I'll ask you in a second what tips you have for being a good trumpeter. But I want to share. I just bought. Do you know a Monet
yeah,
trumpet? I since I changed to this Monet, it's amazing. It's easier for me to play, and high notes, and although it costs, I don't know, 300 or 400, even $500, but it's amazing. It's something that, if I compare to the Bach 3C that I had, it was totally different. You familiar with this brand name? Yeah, I think it's
yeah, I'm on that.
American.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. I didn't try. I have my custom-made mouthpiece. So it took me about 15 years to find my mouthpiece. So I tried out this one, and this one, and this one, and now I have. So in the daily business, so just for holding notes and so on, there's still this Bach
Yes.
1C. But
Yeah.
then I have two Tilts mouthpieces custom made, and one is for lead trumpet, and one is for soul, and
Yeah.
um, and then I have the classical stuff like for the DS uh, trumpet. I think that's a Bach as well. And then
Yeah.
for the piccolo, I have also a different one, and for the flugelhorns, I have a really deep one. It's like the
Yeah.
mouthpiece for a real horn.
Yeah.
Um, so there are trumpet players using the same type of mouthpiece for the flugelhorn and for the trumpet.
Yeah.
But I always ask them, "Hey, why do you do this? That now the sound of the flugelhorn is like your sound on the trumpet." So,
Yes. Yeah.
so I prefer to make a real difference.
Perfect. Okay, so listen, I think I had a really interesting conversation with you.
Yeah,
I think we talked about technology, hobbies, backgrounds and MVPs, and I really appreciate the time that you spared to talk to you. I'm sure we'll meet someday, and we can continue collaborating in LinkedIn and other places. And I wish you a nice weekend and
Yeah,
Happy New Year.
for you too. Thank you. Will we meet
Thank
in?
you.
Will you be in Redmond?
Unfortunately, no, but
Okay.
yeah. So thank you very much, and
Talk to you
then
soon.
see you.
Thank you. Okay.
Bye
Bye.
bye.